Pop Culture Pastor.
So, Cody, it's been a while since we did a show.
It has.
Was that Creed?
No.
Was that, who'd sing that song? It's been a while. It's been a while.
Was it Disturbed?
Oh, yeah. Disturbed is like, so is Disturbed the band that like everyone started doing country remixes of their songs?
Wait, it was Stained.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, the apostrophe D endings kind of,
Yes.
I get them confused.
Tomato potato at this point.
I thought you were going to say tomato.
Nope.
But no, you went tomato potato. Why did I think it was Creed? Just because similar growls?
Yes. For a while in the music industry, around the early aughts, every male lead singer had developed lockjaw.
Now, Creed's making a comeback, right?
They are, and I'm here for it.
Oh, you are?
Yes. Can you take me higher? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to be at like the local nearby Indian casino, right? Was that a thing I saw?
No.
No, they're too big for that.
I think they're too big for that.
Oh, okay. So Creed's still going. Like, they still got some juice then.
They were selling out stadiums and adding shows.
Yeah, just to be clear, let's run over just by memory the recent guests or upcoming guests at the nearby local Indian casino. I know Bobcat Goldthwait is going to be there.
Yeah.
Which there will be no Bobcat Goldthwait slander on this show.
The people that sang In Living Color, that's it.
Oh, not In Living Color, because that's the show. Just Living Color.
Yeah.
The band.
Yeah.
Which, that made me
Cult
sad.
of Personality.
They
Yeah.
should be so much more popular.
They should be. Because they weren't the headliner for that show.
Vernon Reid is like one of the best guitar players in the world. I'll take that on.
You take that on.
I'll take ownership of it. Who else has been there recently? Do you have any? Was Rob Schneider there?
He was at one further south, but yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I would know. Yeah. So those are the guys that are, I don't even want to say it because like they wouldn't pay me to come talk. That seems like I'm dissing them or I'm dissing the casino who has the shows, which for our area, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
I'd go see Bobcat Goldthwait. I can't because we have a prior engagement. But
We do.
on the day he's coming. But I would love to meet Bobcat and get a selfie with him.
I just recently learned that he voiced my favorite rabbit in a show on like Fox back in the day.
Shocking Bugs Bunny slander.
I know. No one was ready for it.
Who's your
Live action rabbit, I should say.
live action rabbit.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
want to slander Bugs.
There will be no Bugs Bunny slander on this show. All right, hey, welcome. This is Pop Culture Pastor. I'm Dave. Cody's here.
I am.
And we're here to make your afternoon weird.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you are welcome. All right, Cody. So I'm getting this information from hyperallergic.com, which makes you think I'm about to talk about like allergies or medicines or something. And it's really not. It's just
Peanuts.
it's just the name of the media outlet. We will not be discussing peanuts.
Charlie Brown.
What we will be talking about are museums and specifically like art museums. Have you ever been to an art museum, Cody?
I've been to quite a few art museums.
Oh, okay,
actually.
Cool. So what is your general feeling at an art museum? Like, how do you like to proceed through an art museum?
I am quiet and respectful when I'm in an art museum because I'm like, the people that are actually here, they're, when in doubt, pinky out, ritzy types. And so I got to be an intellectual and studious.
There's some profiling going on there.
There
I'm
is.
just saying.
I'll peruse through, but if there's something that catches my eye, I'll stop and examine it for a while. But usually it's like, we could do this really fast.
Yeah, right. So like we've got one that comes to mind near here. It's in Bella Vista, Arkansas, or Bentonville. I don't know. They're Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
Crystal Bridges, I think is the name of it.
That is one.
Or Crystal. It's Crystal something.
I thought you were going to talk about the one in KC.
Oh, yeah. You got the Spencer Art Museum in KC.
Also, there's a cool one in Tulsa that's like in a mansion downtown.
Oh.
That used to be like, I think, some oil guy's mansion.
Naturally.
We, of course, buy it and turn it into an art museum.
I would go in there and I'd pretend it's Sylvester Stallone's character from Tulsa King's house.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been to the Smithsonian.
Me too.
And I've been to the art museum there. And every time I go to an art museum, it starts off it goes the same way. So I'm kind of like you. At first, I go in and I'm stopping for a long time at each painting. And I'm trying to soak it in, like in the movies, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when they're just standing in front of the paintings.
Yep.
I'm trying to soak it in and trying to, sometimes, I'll admit, a couple of them gave me the feels.
Yeah. There's some that definitely are awe-inspiring.
Yeah. But as I go along, I'm also like what you're saying, where I get the ADHD kind of acts up. And I find myself spending progressively less time as the day goes on.
We could speed run this.
Yeah, because I think I've got about in any museum, and these are museums that like if I'm in a history museum, I'm super intrigued and interested in history, but it's the same thing. I've got about 2 hours. That's about my limit. And then I've got to go do something else, because if I focus on any one thing for that long in a museum, then I get antsy. Yeah, I just thought of this when I was looking at this story from hyperallergic.com, because they're going to tell you in this story the same thing. What we're going to relay to you here coming up is one of the fastest growing threats to museum collections. Shockingly, not protesters throwing soup on them.
I was going to say it's soup.
Why? Why? The climate protesters throwing soup on the Mona Lisa. I'm just so confused.
It makes zero sense.
It doesn't. I don't understand it.
You know that they have that thing on lockdown that
Right.
your soup's not going to affect it. If you're really wanting to make a statement, you either go to a museum that's like, this is all out in the open and not well protected, or you just save your soup and eat it. You're so wasteful.
Well, and then you're like, well, what are they protesting? Like climate? Well, what did Da Vinci ever do to the climate? I don't understand the connection, except that they're just trying to make a scene. But I guess it's better than, blocking off sitting in the middle of a highway, which is another protest I don't really understand.
Or
let's ruin everyone else's day.
Sitting on a basketball court. I've seen that one.
Oh, yeah, like when they handcuff themselves together or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's always fun. I definitely prefer, I think if you're going to go the interruption or the obstruction route, you should definitely be the one that runs. I know the sports people hate this, but I love the people that run on the field in a football game and usually get waxed. Usually they get laid out, and that's my favorite part. My absolute favorite part. The Super Bowl guy, the streaker that they said happened during the Super Bowl, did you hear about that guy?
Yes.
He literally placed a bet. They had bets if there would be a Super Bowl streaker. And this dude figured out in his head that if he paid for the cheapest Super Bowl ticket, got down onto the field, ran through, paid his court fines and all that he would still make like $10,000. And he did.
Winning.
Yes. Something tells me they're going to have to change some things there. We're going to have like 8 Super Bowl protesters next year.
Maybe we should not have prop bets.
Okay. Cody, fastest growing threat to museum collections. Not climate protesters with canned goods. Not people with ADHD who stick around for half an hour and they're like, I'm bored.
Yep.
But it's apparently selfie takers.
Oh, I was going to say AI, because you could generate your own fine art and then have yourself inserted in it, and then you don't need to go to the museum at all.
But that's not real. So with AI, we're going to have a renewed sense of. I'm kind of counting on this because we live in the fake news era. I'm assuming AI is going to create a generation of humans that are really into genuine articles.
And people that don't have 6 or 7 digits on their hand.
Yes, that's a dead giveaway. Sorry to everyone who actually does have 6 digits, because there's actual humans out there that occasionally have an extra digit.
It happens.
And congratulations to you, because I bet that comes in handy.
Potentially, if you have function to it.
I mean, that's just one more item you can hold at the store without getting a cart. Right? Anyways, let's focus here, Cody. Fastest growing threat to museum collections, according to these museum curators, are selfie takers who back into paintings and other objects. So you're in the museum, you're holding up the phone to try and get you and all your friends in the frame with the Mona Lisa, and you're backing up trying to get that angle just right. And some people back into maybe a sculpture.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so here's the problem is so don't imagine the Mona Lisa where you can't even get that close to it, or you're not supposed to. But imagine sculptures that are on pedestals. And if someone backed into it hard enough, it could break. Why do we do this, Cody?
Evidently, I'm the world's worst selfie taker, because usually I'm I gotta get further away to get you in it.
Well, it's an art. It's an art. There's an art to it. It's a skill.
Yeah, so
it is exceptionally hard to do the selfie with something in the background where you're trying to get something in the background. Invariably, I always turn the phone the wrong way.
Yep.
Because I get all turned around. I don't know if I'm just a big dumb animal. I'm like the monkeys in 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm throwing the phone up in the air and trying to break it with something. It's hard to do anyways, I suppose, and so I can kind of identify with people. But yeah, this is the problem. Robert Reed, head of fine art and private clients at the Hicox Insurance Company, said this. It's a growing trend. We're not going to change the whole way we underwrite. So they insure, fine art. But it's something that's becoming concerning for museums and other public spaces as well.
Oh, I have solved this issue.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you have to buy a ticket to get into these fine art places. When you do, have them check in their cell phone and have it in a secure lockbox.
But some people aren't going to do that.
Well, then you don't get to come in, jabroni. You're there to look at the art, not take pictures of it.
In recent years, there's been several high-profile art accidents, apparently. The destruction of a Jeff Koons balloon dog sculpture at a 2023 Miami Art Fair, and a selfie-related incident in 2017 that broke a Yayoi Kusama pumpkin sculpture in one of the artist's notoriously selfie-friendly infinity mirror rooms.
Well, you were asking for it if you're in one of the infinity mirror rooms.
That is a collection of words where, I'm just lost. I don't even know what that means. That's one where they have a bunch of mirrors and it just messes with your senses.
I think that you could also have it where you have a tour guide that holds onto your cell phones, and then they take pictures for you of you with the objects, so that way you are aware of how far you are from these things.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's kind of where I think it's probably going to go, right? Is that you have venues that plan around this, understanding that selfie culture is not going anywhere. So there's museums out there like the Museum of Ice Cream.
What?
Which appears to exist solely for the purpose of selfie culture, says this article. But there's interactivity where they create the museum around the ability to be interactive and therefore, protect the art better. But I have a particular direction I'm going to go with this.
Okay.
So this problem of the museums having people take selfies and they're trying to get the selfie of them, their family and friends, and the piece of art, and they end up backing into the art and destroying it. Apparently this is happening more often now. The museums, we were talking about this article, and the insurance companies that insure the art, which, man, if you can get that gig.
Oh, yeah.
I bet that's a nice gig, right? How often are there art-related losses?
So there's a good Netflix documentary about a significant art-related loss in Boston. It was an art heist. They still don't know where the paintings are.
In my head, that happens all the time.
But yet it never happens, except for like this one big high-profile case.
In my mind, it was Tom Cruise rappelling down from the center of the museum through the roof.
Potentially. So I do think that if I was a museum that was struggling, I would get something that was supposedly high dollar, have it insured at a super high dollar, and then have someone be like, oops, I backed into it.
Well, and then what if it's a fake? But I assume the insurance company would have experts that would determine that before they insure it. I'm sure they have to examine it, right? Before they'll insure this high dollar piece of art.
I think that like if it's something that's been in the museum forever, maybe not.
That's interesting. I think about this when I think about like my initial reaction to reading this article. This is so for people my age and older, this is the interesting and weird thing about our culture now, where I'll give you an example. I have 4 kids, and for the older few kids really, for the first however many birthdays of their lives, my wife was really adamant about videoing when we sing happy birthday.
Oh,
and when they blow out the candles. And like, listen, before I even say this, I did it fine and it was okay. And I'm actually kind of glad I still have those videos. Like I've watched them. I've gone back and watched them and reminisced and looked at how young my kids were. And then I get kind of sad. But I also remember telling my wife at the time, I'm like, when I do that, I can't be a part of the moment. Mm-hmm. There's something about looking at a screen instead of taking in all the environment, the atmosphere, and the look on our kids' faces where I'm not able to imprint that on my mind as a memory as well when I'm looking at a screen. And she actually understands that now. She agrees with that. She said something at our last birthday that she was like, there's something about just being there in the moment and remembering that and being present. And I think as a whole, Cody, you would not argue with the idea or this hypothesis that I have that we are less present as people than we were before smartphones.
Yeah. We really struggle with what I will call being mindful, being attentive, being in the present moment. And it's not necessarily that we're all being distracted by our phones, but our phones definitely play a heavy factor into it. Some people, they dwell on anxieties, fears, worries, stressors, and a lot of it comes into effect from being on their phone.
Yeah. We literally train our brains to dwell.
Yes.
Because our brains have to be active now all the time. We can't ever be bored. And if you got nothing else to, think about or something distracting you, then you're going to fall back on your anxieties.
Don't do that.
Whenever I start talking about this, the most daunting part of all this is it's Pandora's box. This isn't going anywhere. We have to adjust now. And that seems really daunting of how do we adjust out of this to become a more present people again? Can we? Is that even possible?
So it's real interesting when I talk with kids that have been grounded from their phones and computers for several weeks. Like the first week or two, it's almost like a state of depression. Mm. And then afterwards, after the first couple weeks, they're starting to be more attentive to others and how they actually are feeling, and then
They
they get their technology back.
Yeah, dude, they become different people. I've
Yes.
seen this in my kids. In particular, I have one kid in particular who tends to lose themselves in the technology because it's just what they like. And when they've been grounded from it, it's same. They go through a mourning period, and then it's like something unlocks in them where they're a completely different person, the person that maybe they were meant to be. And that's when it gets me started thinking about all this, because on some level, okay, so as a parent, your choices are, well, I'm going to lock technology. I'm going to lock them away from the world. Well, you can't do that. At some point, they're going to have to go out into the world and function, right? So your job as a people, as if you're a parent or just for yourself, is like, I've got to learn how to balance this in this world, to make time for myself, to just be alone in my thoughts. My wife's reading this book about a lady who started just when she wakes up, she just sits on her bed for 10 minutes before she looks at a phone, before she turns on any screens. She just sits on her bed. Is this on a prayer thing? It can be.
Yeah.
She said sometimes she will pray, but that's not what it is. She's just making herself start her day off with 10 minutes of silence and no stimuli. And I thought, and like she goes on in the book to say like all these effects she's had and good things. And I think, man, that might be it. It might just be us scheduling time where we can do without the phone for a little while. And an art museum seems like it would be a great place for that.
Should be.
To be like, I'm going to stand here and lose myself in this artistic vision for 10 minutes and then not take a selfie.
Check in your phone.
Will no one think of the art insurance dealers? No, nobody does. Sorry, guys.
You are listening to Pop Culture Pastor.
Okay, Cody, there is something about the internet and our culture now that I'm actually kind of super thankful for. It has made a way for us to bless people in a much quicker fashion, a much easier and simpler fashion. And especially if we can confirm, we can confirm that it's real, right? So the internet has given us this thing called GoFundMe.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, yes, do people use GoFundMe poorly? Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I want to start off by saying I actually appreciate this because we can actually streamline and get help to people that really need it. And the internet does a pretty good job of policing it, right? So if it's not on the up and up, it's usually pretty easy to find. Or if you just be patient, like wait 24, 48 hours before you give to a GoFundMe and do some looking, Googling, things like that to make sure that it's really the people who are asking for the money. But the internet does a good job of finding that out because we're all internet sleuths now.
I might be the best internet sleuth out there.
We love to be detectives, especially when it comes to people wanting money. Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. No blessings for you, sir.
I got my eyes on you.
But most recently, I was struck by the ability to do this. The woman that got killed at the victory parade, the Chiefs victory parade,
Yes.
who was a mother. She was in her 30s, right? Upper 30s, maybe.
Yeah, around there.
And her family put a GoFundMe out there for her kids, which, like when you lose your parent, there's a lot of struggle that's going to happen there. Not just mentally, but there is financial struggles down the line because you lose your parent who is out there putting bread on your table and for your future.
Yes.
And that's a big, big loss in more than just the mental sense, in just a physical world sense that we often don't think about. And so their family putting out a GoFundMe for these kids is a special and very cool thing where people, first of all, the internet makes the ability, more people know about it.
Yes.
Catches the eyes of more people. And then what happened is Taylor Swift herself donated $100,000 to this GoFundMe. She actually had to donate $50,000 twice because that's the max. Which she affected originally because she gave to some cancer kid back in the day, and they had to up their thing back then.
Yeah, it used to be just 15,000 was the max, and then they upped it to 50 because Taylor had to make multiple payments. This is an interesting thing for sure, just because I mean, after any national tragedy, it seems like you have people that will post like, oh, my heart's broken. I'm praying for these people, thoughts and prayers. And then you have people that are like, thoughts and prayers aren't going to change a darn thing. And like it gets really animated and agitated. This is also another way to show your sympathy and empathy for the people that are affected by this situation by giving what you feel led to. And yes, prayers do affect change, but like this is another way, because like I'm not going to have any contact with this family, most likely. Although we don't live that far away, it is still like different circles. I'm not living in Kansas City or going to Kansas City all the time. I'm not going to run into them. But I might feel so moved that I need to do something to let them know that I'm thinking about them, that I'm praying for them. And giving a little bit is one of those signs.
Yeah, and you understand it's really a beautiful thing when people can come together in this way, and the internet makes it possible, and GoFundMe makes it possible. And I know that they make money, that GoFundMe is a company, and that, you know, whatever, that's fine, because I think for these kinds of instances, the people are able to get more support through the existence of GoFundMe. So I don't get mad that GoFundMe keeps like 1.5% or 2%, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because in this case, and the beautiful thing about the giving is you give what you can afford to give, what you like. So, you know, $100,000 Taylor Swift's a drop in the bucket.
It's like me putting in a $5 or a $10.
Exactly. So us as regular people putting $5 towards this, you understand as the recipient, like, no, this is big for people. It's our $5 is the same as Taylor Swift's $100,000 is what I'm saying. It's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. When we give to each other in this way, and this is just a vehicle for giving, it's a good thing. And if we complain too much, Cody, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah.
About the whole, that GoFundMe is a platform that has to keep running and needs money to do so. But I'm going a particular direction with this because it also opens the door to people who maybe not necessarily are using the platform correctly.
Oh.
Yeah. So many times, Cody, with the GoFundMes, and I'm just going to tell you, I am a GoFundMe kind of junkie. And what I mean is if one pops up in my news feed and it's people that I'm somewhat tacitly connected to at all, I mean, even that we just live in the same area, I am apt to read the story, and I am apt to give just because I like to do that. I like to bless people. And so I am a self-professed GoFundMe junkie. I will give money even to strangers if I read their story and I think, oh man, I feel moved to try and bless these folks with whatever I can bless them with. And then I can hear people out there, right? When I say that, I can hear the doomsayers, like, well, how do you know they're not taking advantage? Well, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, and I'm okay with that. I'm giving them the opportunity to do something solid and good with their money. That's where it ends with me. I don't think about like, well, what if they're just trying to scam you? Well, then they're scamming me. Doesn't Jesus tell me to love my enemies, to pray for them, to help them? Like, what if they're just scamming you, Dave? Jesus never said that. He said, just do it. Just love them. And so I don't get caught up in the, well, what if it's a scam? Although I try to be smart. You know, I see a lot of GoFundMes. Some of them are obvious off the top, Cody. I see a lot of GoFundMes for things that maybe you shouldn't be asking for money from. A lot of young people. Like,
I need a
go
new
fund my new
Xbox.
tattoo. Like, well, yeah, or a new Xbox, or like a cosmetic surgery. That's one I see that pops up a lot, and I'm just like, well, come on, like this isn't necessary to life. These are not needs. But you see all these all the time now on GoFundMe where they're not needs, and you're just like, well, okay, and that's a little. I don't know, not annoying. I don't want to use the word annoying because I don't feel negatively toward it, but I do feel like, well, I'm not going to give you money for that because you don't need it. Case in point, it's even worse too when you feel like the person already has means.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Alyssa Milano? I know you grew up in the 80s.
Yes.
For 6 months.
It was 8.
8 months. Sorry. I shorted you.
Who's the boss?
Yeah. But for your era, Charmed.
I didn't watch Charmed.
Good. Because it was awful. Yeah, Alyssa Milano, the actress who's now, I mean, what would you say she is now? She's more of an influencer.
She is a political influencer.
Yeah, she's always, got things going on Twitter and
That's how she
TikTok
describes herself.
Yeah. Anyways, she caused quite a hubbub a couple weeks ago because the former Who's the Boss and Charmed star set up a GoFundMe for her son's baseball team. So the baseball team needs to go on some sort of road trip to go play in some sort of tournament. So she put a GoFundMe up for the baseball team. This is what she said, quote, "Every parent raises money for their child's sports teams, and many of them do so through GoFundMe. I'm no different," she wrote on Instagram. "As much as I'd love to pay for the entire team and their families for travel, transportation, hotel, food and beverage, uniforms, trading pins, and all the things teams do for this kind of trip, I cannot afford to do so. Maybe someday." So resentments kind of spreads around the internet about her doing a GoFundMe for a baseball team. And she takes to defending herself on social media. Cody, what are your thoughts on this? How dare you? How dare you? You're thinking Alyssa Milano slander. No, go ahead.
So she is right that for sports teams, especially the traveling ones, they do have to do these fundraiser type things.
But kids usually sell things. They usually
Yes.
sell stuff. There's a little bit of work involved.
I get it, and I don't know if that's even necessarily morally good that we have a system that's set up that we have to sell stuff to do this fun stuff.
Yay, capitalism.
And also, this hits me in so many weird spots because I am not all about the traveling sports.
Yeah.
I'm okay, if you do rec sports occasionally, but some people fall in love with my kid has to do all the sports, and then we have to be on the road, and they love complaining about, oh, I have to be here and here and here. Oh, my weekends are so busy. I'm like, you don't have to be. This is a choice at this point.
Well, okay, let's switch it to something besides sports because my daughters do dance.
Just dance.
That's art. I mean, there's athleticism involved, but it's more in the arts. And they go to competitions. Mm-hmm. And those, listen, all this costs money. In fact, dance costs more than sports, I think.
Buku bucks.
And but the thought of doing a GoFundMe never crossed my mind because I'm just like, it's an option for us.
It is.
It's something important to my wife and I that we allow our kids to have these activities if they work at them. That was the whole thing is I want my kids to learn the value of hard work, and that might cost me some money. But then in this instance, you have Alyssa Milano setting up a GoFundMe. Alyssa Milano, former actress who still does some things from time to time, I'm assuming. And who's she married to? Is she married to someone high profile?
I don't think so.
A hockey player or something? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Candace Cameron Bure?
No. We're not. There will be no Candace slander on this this program. But what I'm saying is she defends herself by saying, well, lots of people do this on GoFundMe. And I want to be like, yeah, but we don't think that's great either, right?
She's married to a talent agent.
Oh, okay. In Hollywood.
Evidently.
Where
yes.
this dude gets, 15%. I'm assuming that's pretty lucrative.
If you have high enough profile clients.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is super weird to me. And I want to talk about kind of just the idea of GoFundMe, of whether it's is it a cumulative good or is it a cumulative negative, Cody? That's kind of where I'm going. So Alyssa Milano, former actress, political activist, I guess, influencer. I don't know. She does this GoFundMe for her kids' baseball team, like to travel somewhere for this trip, and she does a GoFundMe, and the internet, of course, piles on. And this is one of those instances where I hate that we do this. I hate that we pile on now through the internet because I think the effect is always more drastic than it actually is. Because when I saw this, I was annoyed.
Yeah,
it was annoying that somebody was using GoFundMe. Someone with means was using GoFundMe to pay for something that was completely frivolous, right? Like, look, your kid should have the opportunity to play sports, but your kid doesn't have the right, the opportunity to take trips to play sports, right? Mm-hmm. That's something as a parent, we say, can we make that happen? Is it worthwhile to us? Is the trade-off of what they're working for, how hard our kids are working, teaching our kids the value of work, is it worth the trade-off of spending the money to have them prepare for this thing that they go to that's going to cost us money? That should be something that I, as a parent, say, is the trade-off worth it? Now, for my kids in the dance perspective, I say yes, because my daughters work hard at the dance, and they work hard because they know there's a competition coming up in St. Louis, which is about as far away as we go, and it costs money. But at the same time, that's my option as a parent. Once I put that on GoFundMe, that seems weird to me.
So I actually am okay with her doing this, just because I don't know what the circumstances are, because it's like she words it that's for the whole team. And so like if the team parents all gathered around and were like, well, we could sell trash bags or we could do a GoFundMe. Alyssa, you're the most well-known person on our team of parents. Let's have you create it and put it out to your fans. And if some of them want to help out, great. And if they don't, great. And so like you do see that people will just throw ridiculous amounts of money at celebrities for no apparent reason.
Yeah, surely she had people donating to this GoFundMe.
And so I'm like, if people are willing to do it, like, I don't think that GoFundMe should put it like on their homepage of, here's some of the things that we are encouraging you to donate to. Like, it shouldn't be like that, but Alyssa sharing it on X and Instagram, the link, I have no beef with.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't really have a beef with it. It does get harder for me when I see that it's someone of means.
Yes.
And if it was a case of, well, she's just got a high profile name and all that, then I'm kind of like, well, but then why not, why not go through some personal way of means where you just autograph some 8x10s and say, hey, everyone who gives $100, I'll send you an autographed 8x10. So there's something transactional about it, instead of like, okay, when someone just asks for money, it feels like you're asking for charity.
For $150, I will sign an 8x10 of us for you, the listener.
Listen, just so we're clear right now, we don't have a GoFundMe, but we are trying to raise some funds for our ministry, where we go to comic conventions and try to bring people into community that aren't likely to go to church. And, if you give us $100, we'll give you a t-shirt.
Up it's $150. We'll take a selfie and it will be signed.
But we will not back in to any artwork while taking the selfie.
Try not to.
So rest easy, art insurance dealers.